as a prayer leader. So if you wouldn't mind, please open us up in prayer, sir. Prayer, good prayer. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into Revelation. I just gave away the answer to the first question. Today we're studying what book? Revelation, that's right. It's called Revelation, not Revelations, because it is the revealing of, anybody remember Brother Isaac? Who Jesus is, that's right. For the past several weeks, we have been studying, breaking down the book of Revelation and how it reveals who Jesus is. He's not just the Lamb, but he's the, yes, brother? Samuel, the lion. He is the lion of the tribe of Judah, and he's coming back to rescue his people. The primary purpose of Revelation, first and foremost, is to do what for God's people? Yes, Sister Brianna. In peanut? Yeah, this is with crispy rice. I'll try. Yep, here, I found one. Oh. Nope, that's special dark. It's like a Reese's cup. Okay. There you go. You're welcome. Yes, it is to encourage God's people. Revelation takes a realistic approach. It gives us the facts of the age. I feel like the whole class is over here. I don't even need to turn over there. I'll just kind of reorient everything so we're like this. Okay, guys? Is that good? Except we got the camera right there. But yeah, Revelation, it's not traditional encouragement like, oh yeah, things are good, it's all great. No, Revelation instead tells us things are bad, things are going to get worse, but we can be encouraged because God is going to come back and rescue his people. It doesn't sugarcoat the truth. Now, not only is Revelation a book of encouragement, but it is also a book of, it's a P word, looking for someone that hasn't gone yet. Sister Jessica, what is it? Prophecy. Are you good with this right here? All right. Prophecy. That's right. It tells us about the events that were going on in John's day and what would take place after them. So a couple weeks ago, we started talking about the 7 seals in Revelation chapter 6 on the scroll given to the Lamb by the Father. Does anybody remember what the scroll represented? All right, Brother Isaac, I'll give it to you. The property deed to the earth, that's right. Back then, legal documents were sealed with 7 seals and written on scrolls. And so when the Father is handing the scroll to the Lamb, he is essentially transferring the property rights that mankind originally held to the earth back to mankind, back to redeem mankind, back to the Son, the perfect human, who is also God in flesh. So he gives him that scroll, and then Jesus begins to open the scroll. He begins to reclaim his inheritance. Now, as we learned before, Jesus opening the scroll is a good thing because he's reclaiming his inheritance. But even though it is a good thing in the long run, it comes with some pretty bad, some pretty negative consequences. There are some pretty terrible events that occur when the seals are opened and the events of Revelation are kicked off. And that's why it's important to remember that Jesus is the one opening the scroll, because that reminds us that Jesus is the one that is in charge. So, in the first lesson, we studied the first seal. If you guys could put that picture up of the 4 horsemen, the first 4 seals, they were represented by 4 horsemen. We call them the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Does anybody remember what the first horseman represented? Brother Samuel, did you have some? No? Oh, go ahead. Yes, good job. It's the Antichrist. The events of Revelation occur with the Antichrist rising to power, and as we studied in Daniel, he's a regional dictator in the Middle East, and so that's what we should look for. The events of Revelation are kicked off by him coming to power. He has a bow and a Stephanos, or a laurel wreath crown, symbolizing military might and victory. He has the ability to inflict violence from a distance. That's the point of the bow. After he rises to power, and as we know from Daniel, he cements a peace deal in the Middle East, something else occurs. The second horseman, the red horseman. Does anybody remember what that represents? Sister Misty. War, that's right. After the Antichrist rises to power, although it initially appears to be a peaceful time, war breaks out. A war kicks off in the Middle East that has global consequences, the likes of which we have never seen, which are actually what the third and fourth seals deal with. What does the third seal deal with? What does the third seal represent? Does anybody remember? The third seal, it was the black horse. Brother Isaac, what was it? No, that's the fourth seal. And I just gave away that answer. What was the third seal? Sister Misty? Economic collapse, that's right. Economic collapse. The effects of a global war bring about an economic collapse which results in tremendous inflation, famine, disease, and eventually, as Brother Isaac said, death. It says the fourth horseman comes riding along, and he's given authority over a quarter of the earth to kill with famine, with death, with sword, with pestilence, with wild beasts. Essentially, the residual effects of this war prophesied of in Revelation result in the death of a quarter of the earth's population. They result in 2 billion people being killed. And then we get to the fifth seal, which is where we stopped last week. Does anybody remember what the fifth seal was? It wasn't a horseman. It was something else entirely. Brother Jonah, do you remember what it was? Sister Becca? The what? Kind of. There's something specific that John sees. Yes, Brother Eric? No, it is not the Antichrist. Sister Misty, what was it? The souls under the altar. He gets a picture of the Old Testament altar, and he sees the souls of those that have been slain for the testimony of Jesus. And they cry out to God for retribution and vengeance, but God says, hold on, we got to wait.